Well, you got to edit that out.
Greetings, friends. It's Josh.
And I'm Ryan.
And we're here today on the Dead Tired Dads podcast. This is the first episode of season 2.
We're back.
We're back after a little bit of a hiatus. I'm excited to be back talking and recording and just kind of going through what we've been. Ryan, when I was thinking about like how do we launch into another season, we had kind of talked about not wanting to get bogged down in the like week to week thing, again. And so like, how do we launch this thing off if we're gonna keep going with it? And so I figured we just kind of talk through. Usually we have a silly anecdote, or we'll probably sprinkle.
True.
I've got several of those that
I've got some we can
that
use.
I could totally sprinkle in throughout this episode. But I really just want to talk about what's been going on, what games I've been playing, and how things have been going.
Video games.
Yes, for sure. So, what are your thoughts on season 2 and what the plans are?
Well, okay, so let's do this. This will be fun.
Okay.
You don't even know that I'm going to do this.
I don't.
I didn't tell you.
Totally unscripted.
We have a Dead Tired Dads podcast first.
Okay.
You already know about this.
Do I?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
For sure. If you don't, it's going to be very awkward.
Okay.
For many people. Well, not really. Not many, but a few. For the first time ever in Dead Tired Dads podcast history, which is a whole season, there's a pregnancy announcement.
Yay!
I am going to be an even more dead, more tired dad.
Yes, indeed.
Baby number 3.
On the way. Do what?
Late March.
Next month,
yep,
yeah.
March 20th.
So maybe 2 months from now.
Yeah. So, this will be the last time I ever play video games.
Yeah, for sure. For a while anyway, right?
Yeah. So, no, that's fun.
That's exciting.
See, I told you knew.
Yeah, no, I did know. I didn't realize. Wasn't sure where you were going.
I just didn't tell you that I was going to do that.
Yeah. So, yesterday morning, I think, I got my daughter some of the Mario Legos for Christmas.
Yes, those are so cool.
They are cool. And one of them had a little Yoshi figure that you could build with it. And so my it's been floating around the house, just kind of ending up in various places.
Naturally.
And my son decided that it needed, like, the head needed to come off.
of course.
It. And then the body of the Yoshi needed to go into one of my work shoes.
Correct.
And then the head needed to go into the other one of my work
Correct.
shoes. So I'm getting some, Godfather vibes here. I feel like my son is trying to, like, warn me about what I can expect from him going forward.
Yeah, it's fair.
He is threatening me with the beloved Yoshi, and much like the beheaded horse. If you're not familiar with the film trope.
Yes. If you're not familiar, that reference went right over your head.
Yeah, but no, it was. He's become very possessive of his mother, and so I cannot touch her because she is his, and so he doesn't like it when I hug her or things like that. So
terrible! How terrible of you!
It's awful. It's a terrible situation. So I felt like that was a threat from him. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Does the Mario Lego sets that she have, do they make noise?
Yeah.
They have like little barcodes?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are so cool.
It is very cool.
My son has a couple of them.
It is very cool. We got a whole bunch of them for Christmas, and she was very excited. And I think they are very cool, but they're also pretty useless after you put them together.
Yes, big time. Yeah, they are.
Like the idea is that you're going to build all of these different courses and things like that. It's like, I don't think that's actually going to happen.
Where am I going to keep those?
I don't think that's actually going to happen. But it's fun to put together. I enjoy putting them together anyway.
No,
so.
the cool. Actually, what I want is to just get rid of the courses and just have the little characters.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know this, but do you have a Mario?
No, we got a Luigi because she loves Luigi's Mansion. Like, absolutely loves
a game you've talked about.
Luigi's Mansion. So she like watches. There's a couple of Let's Players on YouTube.
Oh, yep.
That have played Luigi's Mansion 3 on the Switch, and she will watch those episodes over and over and over. Like so I'm pretty sure that if I bought that game, she could sit down and beat the whole thing by herself just because she's watched it so many times. So we got her the Lego Luigi.
Okay.
And we got basically all of the Luigi's Mansion sets. So
nice.
So she can do Luigi's Mansion stuff. So
well, it might work with Luigi too, but one of our favorite things to do at our house is if you take Mario and like turn him on and then lay him on his back for a little while, he falls asleep and starts snoring.
Yes, it's very funny.
So awesome.
Very funny. So, yeah, why I guess we can kind of launch into just kind of talking about the games we've been playing and stuff like that, you know. Like I said, we'll probably this is very unscripted for us, which is not uncommon, but
nonsense.
Probably even more so than usually. Usually we've set ourselves to a time limit and we're just kind of you know, I think this time since we've been on hiatus, we're just going to kind of talk, like I said, about the games we've been playing and what's been going on. So we'll probably sprinkle in some other tropes and things like that have not tropes, anecdotes, I guess, of life and things that have been going on. So Ryan, I played through Ocarina of Time on the Switch.
Oh, I'm sorry that you had... Wait, do you have an N64 controller?
I don't have an N64
controller. Oh, then I'm sorry you had to experience that, Josh.
Yeah. Well, it took me a while, like, to get used to it, but I figured out this is a secret thing that they don't really tell you. If you push and hold the RZ button, it will turn the A, B, X, Y buttons into your C buttons.
Yeah, that should be like on the first or second screen when you turn it on.
It should tell you that.
Like immediately.
It does not tell you that. But I learned that like when I looked at the controls and I was like, this changes the entire way that this whole thing functions. Made it much more enjoyable than trying to use the joystick. But
by the way, can I just say, in case it's not clear, I don't think that Ocarina of Time is a bad game. It's one of the greatest games ever made. I just had a very rough experience playing it specifically on the Switch.
Yes. I do have every intention of buying an N64 controller for the Switch as soon as they're in stock. Every time I've checked recently, they're out of stock, which is frustrating. So I played through that. That was an awesome experience. Like just to get to play through it again.
How was the nostalgia factor?
It was great. It was great.
Such
and my
a good
daughter watched me play it, and she wanted to watch. Like she was like, "Daddy, can you play Zelda?" And I was like, "You know what, honey? Yes, I can.
You don't have to ask twice.
Absolutely can." So I had a good time with that. Now, kind of follow up to that, after I was kind of in the middle of playing through that. So yes, you were absolutely right. The C buttons are absolutely terrible, and it was absolutely annoying trying to do certain things in that game until I figured out that little trick with the second right button, the RZ. Anyway, while I was kind of in the middle of that, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna beat Breath of the Wild.
Yes. Yes.
So I sat down and took about 20 minutes to run through the castle and get to Ganon, and I beat him. Very, very anticlimactic game.
The end is
very anticlimactic game. The game itself is phenomenal.
Yep.
The ending is just very flat.
Once you reach the ending, you've done all the hard parts.
Yeah, pretty much. So
that's how that goes.
I would 100% play it again. But just the ending is so the fact that I put it off is actually
You're
okay.
mad at yourself.
I'm actually okay with that. But what it did, because I was playing Ocarina of Time and playing Breath of the Wild, because they're 20 years separated.
They
as
are
far as when they came out.
That's true.
And and it's not just what you expected of a game in the late 90s versus what you expected of a game when Breath of the Wild came out is so different.
Very different.
And obviously, one of the big knocks that some people had on Breath of the Wild was that it wasn't really a Zelda game. It didn't have... And to some extent, I can get that. It is so different than Ocarina of Time.
So why do people say it's not really a Zelda game?
Because it doesn't follow the linear path.
Because it's open world?
Yeah. Because
it's more open world. What made it my favorite Zelda game of all time.
Right.
But
and other people also had a lot of problems with the breaking weapons and.
I did not
shields.
like the breaking weapons. That's fair.
Anyway, but it is like as I was like transitioning back into playing Breath of the Wild, as I was still kind of in the middle of playing Ocarina of Time, I was having such a hard time with the controls and being like, what do I? And I threw my sword like 3 or 4 times, and I was like, no, I didn't mean to do that. And like, it was just really, really aggravating. Excuse me. I eventually got back into it and figured out, exactly what I was doing and where I was and how to get around. But it was 100% a confusing process trying to get back into that game.
I could imagine so.
So those were 2 of the games that I kind of played a little bit of. Ryan?
Now, since you beat Breath of the Wild, when the sequel comes out this year, because it's definitely coming out this year, right?
Certainly.
There's no chance that it gets delayed.
There's absolutely 0% chance that Nintendo delays that game. Right?
No way.
Couldn't
it's not gonna happen.
We've just cursed that game to be delayed for the next, 3 years.
You will never play that game.
Like Metroid Prime 4, it's never coming out.
Anyway. Funny Zelda jokes.
Yeah.
You were gonna ask me something.
No, I was just gonna say, like, what's a game that you have played that you wanted to talk about?
Oh yeah, so kind of over Christmas break, I had a little time off, and I went to our local library, which is awesome.
Yes.
By the way, we have an amazing library here. They have video games for Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, and you can check them out for 3 weeks. So I was there with my kids one day, and I got a game called Fire Emblem Warriors.
Oh, nice.
So if you're familiar with the, quote, Warriors games, I think you talked about one of them, didn't you? Talk about Zelda Warriors?
Yeah, I talked about Age of Calamity.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
The gist of them is they take the characters and the story from those franchises and turn them into like hack and slash, kind of like Dynasty Warriors style games. So they essentially took the story from Fire Emblem Three Houses and turned it into a hack and slash, which was really fun.
Yes. The hack and slash games are like I can't express enough how much I enjoyed the original Hyrule Warriors game, and which I've talked about ad nauseum in this space before when I was talking about Age of Calamity. So I imagine any game like that is amazing. Like I just find them to be amazing fun. So.
Well, what I really appreciated about it is I think people looking at you, Josh, who aren't into role-playing games, RPGs,
yeah, for sure,
can still see these worlds, these characters, and not have to play a style of game that they don't like.
Yeah, no, I would 100% play a Fire Emblem game if it was in the style.
It was really fun.
Hyrule Warriors. So yeah, I can imagine.
So that's one of the games I played. The interesting thing that kind of threw me off. So back in season 1, I talked about Fire Emblem Three Houses, and I kind of talked about how it's a really, really long, like 60, 70 hour RPG, turn-based, all that stuff. One of the things that threw me off is the main bad guy in Warriors is the main good guy that you control in Three Houses. So I was like playing the first couple hours without knowing this. And so they were like referring to this character that I was very familiar with as like the demon who must be defeated.
Interesting.
And I was like, whoa, what? So I actually had to go online and look up like what was going on, and I found out it's considered like an alternate timeline or alternate universe, whatever you want to call it.
That's the same. That's kind of the same thing that they did with with the first Hyrule Warriors. It's not really in any of the timeline for any Zelda game. It's just kind of this alternate thing because with that one they pulled in characters from other I don't know what game it was, but I feel like there were other characters from another game that they were pulling in to Hyrule Warriors that they did some of that stuff with, but it was still still a fun game. But
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think Age of Calamity kind of runs in a similar vein where it's kind of technically a different timeline, but because things happen differently, play out differently.
Yeah, so that threw me off a little bit because it was the same exact timeline, like even the same year and same location and country and stuff. Just one character was the main bad instead of the main good. So that was kind of jarring at first. But overall, it was a really fun game and much shorter than your typical Fire Emblem games for obvious reasons.
Sure. So, interesting. I should probably check that one out. I feel like I would probably enjoy that a lot.
I think you would like it a lot.
Yeah.
And it's at the library right down the street from you.
Okay.
So.
I should, have to find my library card.
That would help in the process. Yeah. Yes.
They have I got the little Baby Yoda library card that they had.
What?
Did you hear about those? They're pretty
cool.
They're very cool.
How do I get one?
I'm assuming they still have them. They at the time when they were offering them, they were like while supplies last, and then like the last person I saw, like who recently got a library card, they were like, yeah, I got one too, and I was like, oh, okay, so they've still got like a ton of those. Got it.
No, I got like the lame like black with blue letters, like the most generic library card ever.
You could probably go ask that, like next time you're down there and be like, hey, do you guys still have the Baby Yoda library card? And they could probably change it out for you.
I'm doing it.
I don't know if they could or not, but
I'm doing it. I'm trying.
But yeah, I've got mine around. It's probably in my car. Keep everything in my car.
Yeah. So yeah, you should check it out.
Yeah, I might do it. So let's see, what else have I played? I played Yoshi's Crafted World.
Yes.
I was thinking because my daughter loves this game. My daughter absolutely loves this game. She's played it a ton. And I was like, you know what? It looks like I had played it a little bit, and I was like, it's a cute, fun game.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna 100% this thing. Like,
nice.
I could certainly 100% this Yoshi game, right?
Yeah.
So like, I go through, I take a few days and I just blast through everything. I find everything that I'm supposed to find on every level. I do everything I'm supposed to do, and then it unlocks like this hell. Like, these levels that are just absolutely impossible to beat.
Yep.
That are just, like, absolutely insane that, like, only the most dedicated player of this Yoshi game could possibly beat. And I'm just like, are you flipping kidding me? You make this entire game, like, this, like, cutesy, like, fun thing, and then after you get through everything, then you just unleash the most impossible things in the world. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm not going to do this. I tried. I give up.
That feels very on brand for Nintendo.
Right?
We're going to give you this adorable game and then frustrate the living daylights out of you with it.
It was just an absolute landscape of just utter chaos. I could not believe it. Like, and
that's interesting.
I say that I couldn't believe it, but like, I could because like
you can.
I can because I do know that that's what Nintendo does with those kinds of games.
Yep.
That like for people who actually take the time to like go through and beat things, but so yeah, no, it's a really fun game. I really do appreciate Nintendo and for as I've praised them vehemently previously. I do appreciate their dedication to coming out with games that are friendly to kids and that are easy for kids to pick up and play just have fun with.
Yeah.
So that one, like I said, my daughter absolutely loves it. She plays if she wants to play a game, she'll play that one. And because she just knows, and it doesn't matter if she's played the level a million times. Like she just absolutely loves playing it, and it's easy for her to, she doesn't get too frustrated with it. It's, they have ways to make it easier for her, and very, I just like the game in general, but I thought I was going to be clever and get and go completionist on it, and Nintendo wins again in that regard.
They always do.
So, there was something else I was going to say. Oh, she's also picked up recently. We got a little bit ago we got the Ring Fit game for the Switch, and so recently,
how is it?
I haven't played it too much.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool. Like it's got like RPG elements to it and things like that. So if I took time to like get into it, I think it would be very cool. But my daughter has picked up, like, started playing it. We've had a couple of days off school here because of they thought the weather was going to be bad, so they canceled school.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They thought the weather was going to be bad.
That's actually a funny story at our house. Melinda, my wife, told me they're canceled, or she said school's canceled. As I've mentioned before, we homeschool.
Right.
She said something about school being canceled the next day, and I was like, "For what?" And she said, "Well, I think it's gonna be cold." And I was like, okay, so why is school canceled? Because we're laughing about it, it just reminded me. No. Yeah, it was like, it's exactly what you said. No, they thought the weather was going to be bad.
They thought the weather could be bad, so they canceled it. Yeah. They were like, there's potential for it to be icy. So they were like, yeah, we're just going to call the whole thing off. So anyway, one of what they do for public schools around here is they have what they call NTI, non-traditional instruction days.
Yep.
Where you basically have packets of work that you're going to do, and part of that was that you had at my daughter's school they have what they call specials.
Yeah.
Which is like art, music, PE. Like, so every day they have a different special that they go to, computer class, something like that. So you had to do a special.
By the way, they're ruining the whole fun of snow day or of weather day. Like, that was the only thing fun about school when you were a kid, is missing because of snow days.
Yeah, tell me about it, Ryan. All the snow days.
All the ones you had
in Alabama.
We had quite a few up in Indiana.
No, we would get hurricane days.
I feel like I have to hear more about that sometime.
Well, no, it would just be like if there was a hurricane that was blowing up from the coast, it was like, okay, like, we have to send you home from school because there's a hurricane that's coming.
So like, would you have to evacuate? Like,
well, we didn't evacuate. We just go home and, like,
this is so different than what I grew up with.
Wow.
Hurricane days. Awesome.
So for her special, for one of the days that she was off, like, she did Ring Fit as a gym class type thing. So she did it for like an hour, and she was really enjoying it, and she wanted to keep playing. So again, another thing that Nintendo has done that, maybe or maybe not, great for adults, but like, hey, the kids love it.
Speaking of our kids, I don't know if you saw this or not, because you might have been busy or behind the scenes or something, but did you see your daughter and my son at church?
I did not.
Oh man, it was so adorable. They were sitting at the very back after church. We were like cleaning up chairs and stuff.
Yeah.
And they were looking at my son's Pokemon cards together, and they just sat back there. It must have been for 15 or 20 minutes, just looking at Pokemon cards.
Nice.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Nice.
So,
Yeah, well, it's funny. Like, as everyone should know by now, I'm not a big Pokemon guy. Like, it's not like my bag. But like, she has like picked up on like all these things from her little classmates.
Yeah.
There's like a kid in her class who has like his own YouTube channel, like that, where he like does. I guess he does like Pokemon Go or something on YouTube or
that's kind of
something.
Cool.
I don't know exactly what it is. I haven't looked it up, but he like. He had a birthday and like sent home like cards with like his YouTube channel information on. I was like, wow, those parents are dedicated to their.
Don't look it up, because when that first grader has more followers or subscribers than us, I'm gonna be sad.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to. not planning on exploring that option. But anyway, so like she like picks up on all this stuff. And so that
yeah,
it's just interesting.
I think my wife asked your wife, is your daughter into Pokemon? Because if she's not, she's going to be now, because our son will will talk at length about Pokemon.
No, she would. I mean, she doesn't know anything about it other than what they are, like that it's Pokemon. But I played Super Smash Brothers because she was like talking about Pikachu or something like that. I was like, I'm gonna play Smash Brothers, and
that's right. He is in there, isn't he?
So that she can see him. And I asked her if she wanted to play, and she was like, no, no, I'm okay watching. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, my son is super into Pokemon right now, which I was as a kid too, and I still sometimes enjoy the games. But he's very into it right now. In fact, when I left to come over here, he said, "Make sure to mention that I'm playing Pokemon now." So that's what he's playing on the Switch.
Nice, very nice. That's funny. I don't know what I was about to say, but. Ryan, did you have another game that you had played that you wanted to mention?
I am right in the middle of playing Divinity Original Sin 2. And I know that I took a very controversial stance on our first ever episode when I said that it was the best RPG ever made.
Right.
I'm going to doubling down
on
that stance. That is the best RPG ever made, and one of the top 5 best games ever made.
Nice.
I'm saying it.
You're saying it.
I'm saying it.
Saying it. Putting it out there.
I'm on my second playthrough, kind of 2.5 playthroughs, because I played it before. The first time I played it, I beat it. I played it a second time, and I got about halfway through when I stopped. Now I'm about 2/3 of the way through on my second and a half, I guess.
Second and a half.
So I'm in the middle of playing that right now. It's kind of a fun memory for me because it's a super long game, like 80 to 100 hours.
Good gracious.
And the only reason, being very on brand for us, the only reason I ever beat it the first time is because I would play it in the middle of the night when I was feeding my son a bottle.
Nice.
So when our second son was born, when he would take his like 2 a.m. bottle, I would hold him in one arm and like use my chin to steady the bottle.
Yeah, no,
while I played this game.
I am familiar with this maneuver.
So, because we have another one on the way, I kind of thought, hey, I should play that again because that's the last time I played it.
Right. Yeah. So you're doubling down on best RPG ever.
Oh, yes.
All right.
So much so.
So much.
I have been telling everyone I talk to to play it.
Is Divinity
Original Sin 2.
Original Sin 2.
You do not need to play the first one. It's not as good, and they're not related.
So is it Divinity Original Sin? Is that the full title of the first game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying, actually. It's Divinity Original Sin and Divinity Original Sin 2.
Is there another Divinity game? Or
no. It's just those two. It's made by Larian Studios, which if you're familiar with your studios or your developers, they make Baldur's Gate.
Okay.
So.
Gotcha.
Nope, it's just Divinity Original Sin and Divinity Original Sin 2. There is no connection, that they're set 1,000 years apart or something like that. There is one character that appears in both, but he's a side character that's not important at all.
Important. No importante.
Yeah. So, yeah, Divinity 2, very specifically, 2 is the better one.
Well, Original Sin. You have to say Original Sin.
I know.
It's the name of the game.
It's annoying.
Divinity, because there's not just a Divinity, which is weird. Like,
yeah,
you would think if you added an add-on like that there would be like a series of Divinity games.
Nope.
But no. Okay. That was my assumption when you said it. Like, I just assumed that there were like these Divinity games and this was like Divinity Original Sin, and yeah. Anyway,
nope.
Beside the point.
That's what they want you to think.
Yeah.
No, I actually intentionally got it. I bought it a while back with some birthday money, which was back in July. I'm just now getting around to playing it. I very intentionally bought it for Nintendo Switch. So the first time I played it was on PlayStation. And I've always thought that it'd be a really kind of a perfect game for the Switch because it's turn-based. It's not an action game. The camera is way zoomed out. You don't need to see a lot of zoomed-in detail. So I've always thought it would be a good Nintendo Switch game because it's this long game with a really interesting story, and I thought it'd be good to take with you.
Sure.
You know? So I bought it a while back for Switch, and I'm just now playing it.
Nice.
And yeah, I'm having a blast.
Speaking of games on the Switch, we are on the cutting edge here, where GoldenEye just came out last weekend. I think we're gonna release this a week after it's come out.
Yeah.
I have not taken the opportunity to play it yet.
Talk about nostalgia factor.
Yeah, for real.
Wow.
But I've actually heard that the nostalgia, it's a really bad port.
I'm actually not surprised.
I have not taken the time to play it, like I said, but I have heard people being like, "Oh my gosh, it's so bad." Again, it's one of those games that defined a genre in the 90s.
Yeah.
Again, and opened the doors for
20
games
plus years ago.
Opened the doors for Halo.
Yep.
If it weren't for GoldenEye, you wouldn't have Halo. And you wouldn't have, so many, the video game genre would look completely different.
Would you have Call of Duty if you didn't have GoldenEye?
I wouldn't think so.
I don't think so.
Not in the same way.
No.
I mean, it probably something else would have come along
eventually
that would have done it.
But GoldenEye was first.
But GoldenEye just absolutely shattered everyone's expectations for what a game could be. But with the controls being after playing Ocarina of Time,
yeah,
and realizing these controls aren't mapped over well, they should really figure out a bit. I can imagine trying to do the same thing
the same. Yeah.
with GoldenEye has to be epically bad. But I do want to play it. I really do want to play it on multiplayer and try it out and see how it goes.
I feel like the only real way that you can play that on multiplayer is you have to have your friends over. You have to order pizza, and you have to play split screen.
You have to play split screen, yeah, for sure.
No,
for sure.
No online play. You have to be in the same room.
That would, you know what? We should do it when we're done recording.
Right now, and we're gonna end this episode
right now. We're done. No, we still got games we got to talk about. I've got a couple that I got.
That's true.
Going back to again, speaking of Switch. I've been playing a lot on the Switch lately.
This episode is brought to you by Nintendo.
But I had never actually played through and beaten Majora's Mask by myself.
Oh yeah, me either actually.
So after I beat Ocarina of Time and Breath of the Wild, I was like, I'm just gonna keep up the Zelda theme here.
We're on a theme, so keep it up.
I'm going to play Majora's Mask, and so I did. I had played it on DS. I got the DS version of it. And I played probably about halfway through it, I'd say. A little bit more than halfway. And I was like, okay, I'm going to buckle down and do this. I realized that when you're trying to there's a difference. There's a story that goes along with this as well that I'm connecting here. So when I was a teenager, I could spend hours and hours trying to figure out puzzles.
Oh yeah, you can sit there all day
and just be like, "Oh, I wonder how I get that mask or how I do that or whatever." I don't as an adult.
No,
I don't have the patience.
That's a hard
nor the time to go through and solve. So I broke one of my cardinal sins, and I was just I want to get all of these masks. But I am not taking the time to figure out by myself what they are. I am looking these stupid things up. So I did that. I still haven't beaten it. Go figure.
You beat the other two though.
I did finally beat Breath of the Wild. I will eventually beat Majora's Mask. I'm 85% sure that I will beat Majora's Mask at some point. But it's not again, it's trying to play it with a Switch controller is just almost a nightmare. But you figure out a bunch. You know, you do figure out a lot of little tricks and secrets of how to make things easier for yourself as you're going along. But I've gotten through 3 of the 4 giants that you're supposed to defeat. So I've made some real progress.
There you
go. I feel, and I try not to look up stuff in regards to those, like in regards to the actual beating of the game, but as far as like getting all of the masks that are in the game.
No, I'm totally with you on that. I've actually done it twice on Divinity.
Yeah.
Lately, it's just these puzzles, these like shrines that you have to solve where something's located. I'm not spending a whole day looking for something. I'll give you a solid 3.5 minutes, and then I'm going to Google because I want to actually play this game.
I want to play. I don't have time to like figure out like what kind of hints the NPCs are dropping to me.
Yeah, no.
Non-playable characters for those of you listening that don't know the acronyms.
Yeah.
There you go. Shout out to you people.
Good.
You people.
You people.
You know, well, I'll stop there. You non-gamers out there.
Ugh.
Wow, Ryan. Yeesh. Segregating our market there.
Yeah, that's true. We love you.
But, so I've almost beaten Majora's Mask. Anything else you've got that you've been playing? Oh, actually, no. I've got something else.
Me.
Something else. This is something I realized the other day. You know, just kind of going back to the idea about not being able to do things the way that you could when you were younger. I did something really stupid the other day, and
here we go.
I realized like halfway through what I was doing that it was really stupid.
Okay.
So I'm getting ready to go one morning, and oftentimes I'm really lazy when it comes to clothing.
Okay.
So all of my like work clothes end up hung up downstairs. Like I pull them out of the dryer when they're done, so I don't have to iron them, and I hang them up downstairs.
Okay.
So all of my work clothes end up downstairs in the laundry room. So in the mornings when I'm getting ready, like one of the things I have to do is come downstairs to grab a pair of pants and a shirt, and then I go back upstairs and get dressed.
Yeah.
So one thing that I'll often do is I'll put on my socks like on my way to come downstairs to get my clothes. So I was standing at the top of the stairs.
Oh yes, here we go.
And I was putting on my socks, standing up. So I'm like lifting my leg up and putting on a sock.
Yes.
And as I'm standing there on one foot at the top of a staircase,
you thought,
I realized
this is stupid.
I am too old. Like I can't do this. This is a bad idea. I am going to like lose my balance, and I'm going to fall down these stairs.
I am a few inches from death.
As you get older, you realize like there are things that you can no longer do.
Yeah,
such as solve puzzles in video games and put on socks.
Wow.
So that's the PSA for today. Don't try to put on socks while you're standing on the top of a staircase.
That's good. That's a good PSA.
Anyway, you're another game that you've been playing, Ryan.
Okay, well, since we're talking about Switch, let's just keep talking about Switch.
Let's keep talking about the Switch.
I have what I hope will be a funny story. Maybe I can get your opinion on this, Josh. Okay. Once again, I went to the library, and this time I had a very specific purpose. The last time I was there, when I got the Fire Emblem Warriors game, I saw that they had NBA 2K22 for Switch.
Okay.
And I actually sat there looking at it for a couple minutes, and I thought, I'm curious as to how that will play on the Nintendo Switch.
Right.
I've played many of the NBA 2K games, most of them on PlayStation, some of them on Xbox. I've enjoyed quite a few of them. They're fun. I like sports games. Not as much as I used to because they're very repetitive and the same thing year after year. But I was just curious, what will this play like on the Switch?
Right.
So I checked it out, and the answer is it plays horribly. Horribly.
Go figure.
It's a terrible idea. I don't know if it was just... I don't know if it was just my controller or my console or what, but there was a significant delay.
Yeah.
Like if I told my guy to shoot the ball, it was a good 2 seconds before he actually shot. I think I actually airballed a free throw because the delay was so bad.
So I have noticed a couple of issues with my Pro controller.
Yeah.
On my Switch. Part of it is if my batteries are low, it will start doing things like drift type things if the battery is low on that controller. So that's one thing. But I don't know if I've ever had it happen where that wasn't the situation. So I do know that I don't know if that's a thing for everyone else, but I know that I've experienced that where like I've had some laggy inputs from my Switch controller. As we've said before, if there's one thing that I could, if I could fix one thing about the Switch, it would be their controller issues because they are numerous.
Yeah, they are. To their credit, they usually take care of them, but it's still a hassle.
It's still something that shouldn't be an issue. That should not be an issue. I wonder if they fix that on like the OLED models.
Well, if Nintendo would like to send us one, we could
test
it out for them.
Test that theory out for them.
No, it was terrible. It was terrible.
Well, part of that though I think goes to the producers of the game too, right?
Yeah.
Like as like if you're a EA Sports or 2K Sports or whatever, whoever's making those games, like
they know their audience.
That the people who are going to be playing your games are not going to be playing it on the Switch.
No.
So why should you invest a ton?
They're going to get last priority on anything.
Like, why should you spend any kind of time or effort in developing that game to make it something worthwhile? You're just not going to. So I think that part of that lies on the developers.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
So I remember when the Nintendo Wii originally came out. It was 2006. The motion controls were this new thing, and it was going to change. Like it was just going to change everything. And Madden 2006 came out.
Yep.
On Sean Alexander on the cover.
Yep.
And they came out with a port for it for the Wii, and it was flipping amazing.
Was it? I never played it.
It was so like they actually utilized the motion controls in a way that made sense.
Yeah. And
they worked, and it was just so good, so cool. I really appreciated it. And then by the time Madden 2009 came out, they had completely gone away from everything that made that first one really good.
Yep.
And had dumbed it down to just like it was dumb. It was bad. It was a bad game. Which really disappointed me and really frustrated me because that was the one with Brett Favre on it. So all that to say, like, I think that part of it is that they know that they're not going to get a lot of sales from the people with that, because most families are 2-console families. So if you're going to get a sports game on one of your consoles, it's not going to be the Nintendo console.
Yeah, no, if I was paying for it, it would have been on PlayStation.
Right.
Yeah.
So now again, like, the question becomes like, well, is that because you don't put any effort into developing the game for the Nintendo console, or is that because you're not going to get people to buy it? But it's give or take. But they do, in general, yes, more people are going to buy it on Xbox or PlayStation. So part of it, I think, part of the issue with that goes towards that.
So I discovered a new pet peeve of mine.
Okay.
While playing this game.
Okay.
And this is not related to it playing poorly on the Switch. This is related to most sports games do this, and I have discovered. I didn't know I hated it until it happened to me recently. Okay, So if you're familiar with sports games, a lot of them now have this mode called either Superstar Mode or My Career or My Player,
Right.
something. The gist is you create a character, presumably that looks like you,
Right.
and you try to get them drafted.
Right.
On football games, you usually play like a couple of college games. That's how your draft position is determined. Same thing with basketball games. There's always a few games that you play to determine how high you'll get drafted.
Right.
The new pet peeve that I have that I've discovered an absolute hatred for. You do these college games or these like pre-draft games. You get drafted number 1 overall, and then your skill level is not. It doesn't match what a number 1 overall should be. So
Right.
my basketball player on 2K22 gets drafted like 3rd overall, I think. And then I'm playing an NBA game, and he can't make a layup. He's like missing open layups. Okay, first of all,
Nice.
I used to be an athletic person, nowhere near the level of getting drafted to the NBA,
Right.
but I can make a layup.
Right.
So I am going out on a limb and guessing that people who get drafted into the NBA can make layups. In fact, I know they can because I watch it on ESPN all the time. This is my new pet peeve.
That is really stupid.
It's so dumb.
That is really
It's
dumb.
like I had it happen on a Madden football game too. My quarterback got drafted 1st overall, and then he threw like 9 interceptions the first game. What?
All right.
He forgot how to play football?
All right, Jameis Winston.
Okay, well, you have a point. He did get drafted, so what can I say?
Not only did he got drafted number 1 overall,
But it infuriates me. I got so mad that I returned the game after like 3 days.
Oh,
This
wow.
is dumb. I can't make a layup. I got
Wow.
drafted 3rd overall. I can't make a layup.
yeah. So going back to the Madden 06, that was actually one of the really cool features of, that was one of the first games one of the first Madden games that I played that had that feature in it, and I thought that was really cool to be able to create and like kind of, try to get yourself traded to the Packers.
Well,
Like
now
the-
you can just choose what team you want to draft.
demanding trades and like hope or I did actually make one that the Packers actually did draft me. I was a running back because if I had ever played football, I would have played as a running back. That would have
Oh,
been
there
my
you go.
position, but I never played football. So anyway, so yeah, that's no, sports games and Nintendo aren't friends anymore. They
No.
used to be. And they could have been if Madden had not screwed up, with the Wii. I feel like there
Yeah.
would still, because like I said, I thought that game, Madden 06 on the Wii was just absolutely incredible. Very cool game. If you have a Wii and you have an opportunity to play that one, I highly recommend it. I hope I still have my copy. I need to check and see if I still have my copy.
I remember that game, but I never played it.
Yeah. So last game I want to talk about that I was playing, that I've played, at least on this episode for now, is I replayed the Spider-Man on PlayStation 4.
Oh, that is such a good game.
It was so good. It's so flippin' good.
Such a good game.
And as I was playing, one of the things that I love about it is that it is it's kind of got some iffy stuff, but most of it can be overlooked, so you can play it around your kids.
Yeah. Yep.
And so one of the great benefits of it is that my son is now super into Spider-Man.
Yes.
He absolutely loves Spider-Man. And
Yes.
he's got 2 Spider-Man hoodies
Love
that he's
it.
got that he will they have the hoods have the actual Spider-Man mask on it.
Yep.
So he'll run around and when he sees Spider-Man, he'll point at his shirt, at his
That's awesome.
because he still hasn't started talking yet, much to my chagrin. He speaks in guttural noises still. So anyway, but he's constantly going. It's a very funny guy. But he absolutely loves Spider-Man. My daughter is really into Spider-Man now too.
Nice.
She had seen me play the game previously, but she was also really young when that game came out, when I was playing it the first time. So
it's a really good game.
It's such a good game.
A really good game.
I do have like one of my biggest pet peeves with it is that it does like it takes you way too long to figure out how to actually play the game. Like even though it's like telling you what to do, like it takes you way too long to figure out that like, oh, in order to be like to like actually be good at this game, you have to use like the different web things that you have available to you. Like if you're not thinking in that realm, it takes you too long to adjust. Excuse me.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Like it's so it's so like if you're just trying to beat it with punches and kicks and dodges.
No, they want you to
challenging.
do certain things at certain times.
Yeah, and so like just trying to like figure out. But I also played through it on a harder difficulty than I did the first time through because I was like, I've beaten this before, and it was it was quite challenging. So,
have you played any of the DLC for it? That's downloadable content.
I have not. I don't have any of the. I do not own any of the DLC for it.
That was the only thing. So I really, really enjoyed that game a lot. I think it's a good game.
I platinumed it.
Me too.
That's the only game that I have ever platinumed. So
I think I've done 3 or 4.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But
no. That's one of the things I enjoyed about it is it's doable to platinum that game. Like some games are. There's a couple that are too easy. It's just like finish the game and you get a platinum.
Right.
And then there's some that are just too hard. There's some games where you have to fulfill online criteria to get a platinum. It's like, it's stupid. I didn't buy this game to play it online.
Yeah,
but anyway,
that multiplayer trophies are stupid.
So what I was gonna say, my only complaint I ever had about it, the Spider-Man game, is it seemed pretty obvious to me that the DLC was originally going to be part of the game, and they just locked it behind a paywall.
Oh, really?
Yeah. One of the characters, I can't remember her name, but one of the characters you meet a couple times in the base game is the main person throughout the DLC.
Sable.
Silver
Sable.
Yep. No, and like no one ever confirmed that, but most fans are pretty certain that
interesting
they intentionally locked that behind a paywall, even though it was already done.
That is an aggravating part of our gaming culture at this point.
So I never played it because I kind of have this. I am 100% okay with DLC, with paying for it. I have nothing against it. But I am not okay with, like, you finish a game, a $60 game,
right? And
then you go, oh, this last 10%, we're gonna cut that, and then no, you've already. If you finished it, give it to me.
Right. Well, that was one of the beauties of like old games is like if the game came out, that's what it is.
It is what it is.
Now, granted, that also led to some broken games, but you win some, you lose some, right?
Yeah. So I was just curious if you played it because it's one of those things where I kind of refused to pay for it.
Yeah, I did not pay for it because I wasn't sure. Like, I got the platinum before the DLC came out. Like, I had finished the game before any DLC came out, and so I wasn't sure, like, if I did it. I mean, I assumed I wouldn't, like, lose the platinum.
Oh, yeah,
but,
no,
like,
you
if
won't.
there would be, like, more that I had to do to get, like, another platinum, and I was like, I'm not, like, I don't want to know.
I don't know how they do that. I don't think they add another platinum. You just keep the one you got. Yeah.
But, anyway, I don't know. I don't pay enough attention to the awards and things like that, so. Anything else have you got?
Not really. I'm trying to think if I've played anything else. That's kind of it.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, it's been nice. Like, as much as I enjoyed like doing the podcast or enjoy doing the podcast, like it's been nice to just like kind of be able to like play games that I've already played. Like, I know that's mostly
Play
what I do
games
anyway.
for fun.
And just to have something that I'm going to sit down and play this, and I'm going to actually play through it. I was able to beat a couple games, which is not something I'm known to do, so.
Yeah, no, I actually was thinking about it, and I wasn't sure if we were going to record again or not.
Yeah.
Because it was one of those things where we didn't have a plan right away. And then it kind of became nice. Like, oh, I'm just taking my time with this game. And if I want to go read that book or go watch that football game or whatever, I can go do that. And I don't have to think, well, I need to get at least so many hours of this game so that I can give it a review.
Right. So, and we talked about that on our last episode too. So, I think what I have in my head is that we will at least do one episode a month. So we will have something out there at least once a month. And if we find something that we need to talk about, we can record another episode. But I think that's kind of what I have in my head, and we'll just see what happens and where it goes, and if we find we need to do more or or whatever, I don't see how we could do less than one a month, but but if we, if something comes up and we're like, we need to up this, or maybe do 2 a month, whatever it is. But I think one a month gives us, that gives us actual time to play games, and continue about doing our daily living life,
which is the whole point.
Things, yeah. And actually to play games, and enjoy them a little bit more. So, speaking of playing games and enjoying them, I've had I've blown a ton of money, because I've had my Xbox subscription still.
Oh yeah, Game Pass.
Game Pass. Thank you.
Yep.
I couldn't think of it, and I haven't touched it since we last recorded. So it's been
nice.
4 months of $10 a month that I've paid, and so it's almost a game, but that's okay. I got more use out of it than that. So anyway, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this. And also, our episodes might be a little bit longer. So this one's gone, close to an hour. And so, if we're only doing, if we're only doing one episode a month, we might extend out the episodes that we're doing. We'll, it's at our whim. So
we're in control here.
You are, at our mercy as far as the content that we want to put out. So.
I do have a funny story.
Oh, funny story from Ryan.
I have a funny story that I want to share. So it's been a discussion on this podcast before, the type of candy that we like,
sure,
and how to eat the candy.
Yeah.
And during Christmas at my in-laws' house, this topic actually came up. My sister-in-law made a comment about not liking Rolos, or who would like Rolos or something like that. And I was like, whoa. We're not going to talk bad about Rolos at the Christmas dinner table. And it turned into this big debate about what kind of candies are good and not good. And I actually got made fun of. I got made fun of because of this podcast. People had this idea about me that I just will eat any kind of candy. And I have no taste and all this stuff.
You've said as much, though.
No, Josh. No, you will not join them.
But you've basically said as much.
Okay. I came here as an opportunity to defend myself, where my in-laws could not attack my candy preferences.
I'm not attacking you. I'm merely using your own words against you.
I do like most candies. I also have some level of taste buds.
So this is the end all be all for me. How do you feel about Mounds?
Mounds. Do they have coconut in them?
Yes.
I don't like anything with coconut.
Okay.
Yeah.
That settles it. As long as you don't like Almond Joys and Mounds, we're good.
All right. So I know that at least 3, maybe 4 of my in-laws listen to this show.
Okay.
So it just proves it. It settles it. Josh said it right here on the show. I have some sort of taste.
There is some sort of taste there. people who have no taste, like, are the ones who will eat Mounds and Almond Joys. They're absolutely disgusting.
So this, what happened was this devolved into, I like Rolos, by the way.
Right.
I think they're really good, but I like caramel.
Right.
So,
Fair enough.
So the table was sort of split. Some of them liked Rolos, some of them didn't. But then my brother-in-law made the comment, well, we all know that Ryan doesn't have like any taste. He'll eat any candy. So this devolved into everyone at the table asking me, what about this? What about this? And it was my own fault. I foolishly made the comment on, I think it might have been Circus Peanuts. I don't remember. I foolishly made the comment that I don't like them very much, but if you put them in front of me, I might eat one.
Okay.
Or something to that effect.
Okay.
And that's when it really just got like...
I actually do like Circus Peanuts.
I don't... Like,
I haven't had them in forever.
My thoughts on Circus Peanuts, I won't buy them.
Right.
Because if I'm paying for it, there's many other candies I'd rather have.
Sure, fair enough.
But if I came over to your house and we were going to record this podcast and you had some right here, I might eat one or two.
Yeah. Yeah. Circus Peanuts are... I
But-
haven't had... Golly.
But to say that was like one of the
Man.
worst things I could say.
I want a Circus Peanut now, Ryan. But
Well,
I'm in that same boat where
Walmart's
it's like,
close.
I don't like paying money for them. Not
So-
because they're not good. It's just...
So that became the standard that everyone would
Gotcha.
ask me. Well, what about this?
what about that? Yeah.
I wouldn't pay for it. I wouldn't choose it. But if you put it in front of me, I might eat one or two. So anyway, it was actually a really, really funny conversation. We had a good time with it. I should add, I love my in-laws. I'm very close with my in-laws.
Yes. Yes.
I know, like, you watch sitcoms or stand-up comedians, there's always jokes about your in-laws. I don't have that experience. I'm very close with my in-laws. It was all fun and games.
They're good people.
It was great. It was a hilarious conversation.
Sounds it.
And it all stemmed from
Right.
our conversation
That's
about
fun.
candy on this podcast.
Well, much like we have devolved, that conversation devolved.
True.
So, or something like that.
Something
Anyway.
like that.
Anyway, thank you for coming back and joining us. We appreciate it.
Yay.
If you've stuck with us for this long in this episode, we do really appreciate your ears. If you want to, you can like and subscribe, and you'll get another episode in a month-ish.
Yeah.
So this will count. This will count for February's. We'll have skipped over January for the year, but we'll pick up for February, and then so you can expect an episode sometime in March, and we'll go from there. But thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing, and if you want to share, comment, please do so, and we will see you all in our next episode. Thanks.
Bye.